Hi guys, this is Sydney. So right now I'm at a cafe, as you can notice. So be aware of the noise right now. So I just got my matcha, and I felt called to be on camera and share something and speak a message. But then I just couldn't do it at home, so I needed to get out and for some reason today, I felt called to speak while I'm outside. So that's what I'm doing right now. Um, so I'm going to start drinking. So at this time, the energy of Aquarius is very heavy. As we just had a lot of the celestial transitions going into Aquarius, North Node in Aquarius, and we are already in Pluto in Aquarius. So Source in Gaia is coming on right now. So I think this is the spot that I'm meant to speak and be at. So there are specific spots that they guide me to go to whenever I feel called to or drawn to share some messages. So this is the place. It's about sovereignty. So we have this idea, we talk about sovereignty, we talk about independence, we talk about freedom, but they meaning Source and Gaia, they want us to really see that idea of, or the concept of, or the philosophy surrounding the word sovereignty from a different perspective, more of a higher perspective, which is more going to be aligned with the energy vibration of the new earth. So the first thing that's been on my mind for the past 2-3 days was the idea of the authority and the follower. And that's tied to a lot of different things, a lot of different collective traumas that every individual is harboring at this time, right? Like seeking external validations and seeking praise. So we've been conditioned heavily, still is. So for example, you go to school, A is better than B, B is better than C. And you used to get B's and now you are getting A's and you feel like you're a winner. And you used to get A's and now you're getting B's, you feel like you're a complete loser. It's the end of life. You know, that's how we've been heavily programmed with in the word that is coming is pyramid scheme. It's not just like that marketing, you know, that tactic that's been manipulating people into, you know, selling stuff. In Korea, we call it dadange, which means multiple layers, multiple steps. So there's like a pyramid. So if you recruit more people for the company and make them sell your stuff, you get the commission. So that's how they're trying to recruit people. And it's been pretty popular like 10 years ago. I don't know about now. But recently when I was in China, I saw that company, Amway. So they have their own products and they're using that as a marketing scheme. So that's the world we are living in right now. What is the idea of success? What is the idea of failure that you have been embodying or you have been projected onto? You have been handed down from your parents, from your generations, from your surroundings growing up. And that goes deeper than this lifetime. It goes way deeper into many different lives, as we were mostly in that age of experimentation of dark ages, right? So I'm just asking you the questions because you have your own definitions and you have to find that yourself. And I'm just giving you the guiding point. I'm not providing you the answers. And that's the idea of sovereignty. And in a lot of industries, it has been like, okay, I have the secret recipe. I'll give you 1, 2, 3, step 1, 2, 3, and here's what you got to do. And if you do this, everything's going to work out. You're going to make millions and blah, blah, blah. It's like the marketing tactic, like the funnel. Building funnels was very popular about 10 years ago in entrepreneurship community, self-development communities, among like the youngsters at the time in their early 20s, like very motivated, and they want to like create success, meaning make millions of money at the time. And a lot of these entrepreneurs were hyping it up. So I have created this marketing funnels, and if you buy my program, and everything just works out magically for you. Everything is built in, and you put in your products, and then it's gonna work itself, and you're gonna make millions and like blah 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 in no time. Basically, that's how they were selling it. So something of that nature. It's been like that. The ones who so-called have success or succeeded or however it is, and usually recently, right, up to recently, it's been about how much money that you are making. That's been the standard of success. How much followers, or how big is your whatever community on social media. That's been the guiding point or the standard of success. So we need to really rethink about this in order to build the new earth, basically, because it's not going to be based on these level of consciousness or these frequencies. That's kind of lowering the vibration. So I'm just going to take a sip. So also another thing is like, if you want to be healthy, you got to do these exercises, or you got to eat this stuff, you got to take this whatever. And if they are coming from a place of sharing information to educate people so they can help them find their own ways, how they frame it, maybe like you got to do this, you got to do that, but the energy behind it will be, or the intention behind it will be to allow others to be their sovereign self. But if someone is coming across as, you got to do this, I have figured it out, this is what worked for me, so this is what you got to do, that's more like the word that is coming is old-fashioned. Not in a sense that, it's like in a disrespectful sense, but old-fashioned meaning it's the old ways of doing things. We are no longer in the age of Aquarius, or the Pluto in Aquarius, the North Node in Aquarius. It's not going to, those energies not going to, the word that is coming is survive, because they need to be expelled is the word that is coming. So it may take some time. It's not going to happen overnight, but that's what I'm going to share at this time. So for example, if you have health issues, or if you are suffering from obesity that creates a lot of physical symptoms in your body with lack of energies and constant physical aches and discomfort, and you want to improve your health, and you are reading books and you are listening to other people, so-called experts, right? But the thing is, it's very easy with the old consciousness mindset to go into, I need to find a quick solution. That's been programmed, ingrained deeply in our consciousness on a cellular level. So you need to look into it, and what happens is, if it doesn't work out, you either blame yourself or you either blame these people who have sold you stuff, even though it's not a product or it's not a service, but it's like selling you, or you've been convinced that that's what I got to do, right? But it didn't work out for me, or I got some side effects, or however it is. So this analogy is coming, that's very common, because we need to step up as a sovereign self, meaning you need to assess things for yourself. And in order for you to assess things for yourself, you need to study what they are, study the essence, study the fundamentals. It's like you have to go into how the bloodstreams work, how your heart is pumping your blood and how it's affecting, and how your hormonal system is working, how it's connected to all this brain and inner stuff. So then you start applying based on what you have learned. And basically you have to verify your sources, where the information is coming from. And that takes a lot more time, so-called, a lot more effort on your part, and a lot more energy. But that's what we mean by investing in yourself. And someone says, oh, fasting is really like blah, 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 it's going to cure everything, and you start fasting. You can experiment with different things, and you have to allow yourself to go through the trials and errors of finding that out by you experiencing it. So knowing something with knowledge and knowing something from experience is totally different. So that's more in connection to the energy of sovereignty that we are to live in. And how does that link to the age of Aquarius? That means when you are sovereign, you're not dependent, you're not overly attached, you're not overly in place of vulnerability where things fail and then you start blaming yourself, or you start blaming the outside sources that told you to do so. You see what I mean? So you become a victim very easily, or you become a victor very easily, right? It's working for me. So that idea needs to be reviewed, is what is coming for me to share at this time, so that you can start discover your unique self, your unique physical rhythms, your unique hormonal systems, and how your body's been working and how things work for you. And someone says, oh, I get up at 6 a.m. or I get up at 7 a.m. I need at least 8 hours of sleep. 6 hours of sleep is the best, or I need to sleep 10 hours. These things, they used to constantly debate over what is better, what is right. But in the age of sovereignty, in the age of Aquarius, it's about what works for you is the answer. And it could change as you shift, as you transform, right? When you are in really deep, you need to go through a cellular cleanse, you may require a lot of sleep, especially with Ascension symptoms and so-called, or sometimes, depending on, what age group you are in, the hormonal changes can affect your daily life and how things function within your physical body. And the significance of that is it affects your decision making. When your body feels weak, when you have knots in your stomach and you can't digest food, it doesn't matter how much good food that you are putting into your body, it cannot digest, it cannot absorb, and it cannot excrement. What is the word? Eliminate. You see what I mean? So the waste gets built up, and things are blocking the flow, and that's affecting um, your perspective. So the main message was, don't just follow when someone says, this is what I found out, this is what works, this is the best. Like even with personal fashion styles, you have to know yourself. And to get to know yourself, you're going to go through a phase or a journey where you need to perhaps go outside of your comfort zone, explore and experiment things with yourself, and then try different things, try new clothes, try new whatever style that you want to try out, for example. And then you're just playing with it. And that's how you find yourself, or that's how you find your own element in a way. And you can get inspired from, how other people are dressing, and if you're interested in it, for example. But the thing is, right now, it's like people want to be like that. That's a lot of the heavy old consciousness energies that's playing out, that's not in alignment with the age of Aquarius. And when these things take place more and more, individuals will step up as their unique self, unique authentic expression of themselves. They may be multidimensional, so it's not just going to be one thing. It could be this and this and this and this, but there's going to be no label, because the universe is limitless and you are the universe in essence, so you are limitless. You see what I mean? So that's where the idea of infinity, limitlessness, and all this coming into play. And once individuals are ready for that energy, or embodying that energy within, they're going to be able to collaborate, cooperate, or encourage and support others in the same way. Because they're not looking to be like you, they're not in competition with you, they're not in comparison with you. They're to help you build up stuff. And if there is a common higher purpose, you're going to synergize your energies, your gifts, talents, knowledge, experiences, and then start building these things together. And that's what we need. And that's, as a pioneer group at this time, is guiding to do right now. So we've been embodying a lot of these energies to within ourselves first. So we prepare ourselves on an energetic level. So that means the word that's been coming was leaders create leaders. And this word has been very popularized, especially in the entrepreneurship community, like 10 years ago. I don't know about now, like in personal development arena. And everyone was like, yeah, yeah. But then they talk about leaders create leaders, but they create followers, basically. They're creating followers. They've been creating followers. And they needed to really review, but the energy of the collective consciousness on Earth 10 years ago was a lot lower, a lot lower, significantly lower than the level of consciousness that we are tapping into at this time. So that was just the energy back then. And now we need to change these definitions that we've been working with, that we are just using habitually. So that's where we need to leave the old, or transform the old into the new that's more aligned with the new higher frequency at this time, and moving onwards. So it requires a lot of constant reflection, constant tapping into your higher self, That's where we've been talking. I've been sharing this, that to merge with your monad for the past 2 years and merging with your higher self. That has been the preparation, the platform. Because we're now in a flow state, what happens is your ego is not leading. In a flow state, your higher self is leading. That's why it feels a lot easier. That's why it feels a lot effortless. Because your egoic mind likes to control, analyze, and obsess over everything, every detail, perfection. But when your higher self is in charge, you don't know. You're constantly moving in the unknown, but everything works out. That's why it feels and it seems effortless and easy life. And people just want that easy life or effortless life without or skipping the process of embodying certain frequencies within because of the programmed consciousness or that limiting ideas and beliefs rooted in duality consciousness. So that's something that we need to understand. And once again, the separation or the pioneer group is likely to trigger a lot of people, and that's with the sole purpose. You are meant to trigger others, meaning you're meant to give other people an opportunity to decide whether to look into their shadow and decide to heal from then onwards or continue to stay in trigger. You see what I mean? So someone left and I'm going to close the door outside. Usually this doesn't happen in this cafe. So that I can concentrate. So that's the energy right now. It's the inner. It's really the inner. And it seems like there's going to be a lot of temptations when you start investing things into your inner because you feel like it's going to really trigger you to fall back into old patterns of you trying to control the outside or what's going on and work hard to make things happen. But then you feel like you're neglecting everything, but you're just sleeping for 10 hours. You're meditating more, whatever it is. You're just having some time for yourself while you feel like you should work on something, to create something, to produce something. So actually the word that is coming is not about creating, but it's about producing. So we've been heavily pressured to produce because we've been in enslavement, basically. We were the labor force. We were the slaves, and we are still the slave in a lot of ways. If it's not physical, mental, emotional. So that constant thought of, or the constant self-pressure that you need to do something right now, you need to go and work, you need to go and do this, and you need to physically be busy, and that meant you are producing more and you're doing more and you're efficient and you're getting ahead in life and stuff like that. So these ideas are constantly going to pop up as you start to invest in yourself and learn to basically at first do nothing and be at peace. And that's really, really difficult. That's really difficult. Do nothing and be at peace. You know what I mean? I went through all these stages, right? And have nothing and be at peace. You know what I mean? It's really difficult. It really challenges someone to build faith, build trust in the unknown. And when we say build trust in and have faith in the unknown, and we usually think of it in the old consciousness sense about higher power, like God or the universe, that subconsciously and automatically we believe that they're higher than us, but they are us. You see what I mean? To embody that consciousness within yourself, it takes a lot of work, but it is possible. And you must do it to join New Earth, is what I'm guided to share. Because without going through all these processes, if you want to skip these processes, that's something that you need to look into first. Why do I want to skip it? What's been programming my mind that quick solutions are always better? What has been influencing my consciousness and my mindset? And once you have that, you're going to easily frustrate yourself because you're so focused on the results. The ego likes results because it likes control. But when you are operating with your higher self, it's more about, I'm doing everything because it's fun for me. I'm doing everything because that's where my passion lies. I'm doing everything because that's what's making me joyful in this moment. It makes me feel joyful. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel just that high vibration. And that's all you're thinking about. Or you're not even thinking about it. You're just doing it in the moment when that happens. That's higher self. So you're not overly planning, you're overly thinking, you're not overly analyzing, you're not overly strategizing everything. It just happens instantly. That's how things work with higher self. So to go to that point, it requires these processes of looking into all these things that make you discomfort, make you put in a place where it's creating a lot of anxieties and insecurities is the key. You need to really expose yourself of that to yourself, to embody more that frequency of sovereignty. And about a month ago, I shared that Sovereign Portal just opened, and that's what these codes are available at this time on Earth. So you can tap into it now. And it can work for you easier than perhaps 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You can really go into your higher consciousness a lot easier because the energy is less denser. Is what I'm guided to share. So that's more like the environmental upgrades that you can, so-called in human language sense, take advantage of, not in a sense that you're just taking advantage of, but like utilize more of that sense. Okay, so a lot of people are going to be triggered. Look at where they are, look at where I am, and how far I need to go. That's the very common mentality at this time that's making people discourage themselves, making people to stagnate themselves and giving up on themselves. But I constantly mention that when you think it's too late, that's the perfect time for you to step forward. Because of the old mentality, the limitation is holding you back. And that's the moment you need to go the complete opposite way of discomfort. When you say, oh, it's too late, you do the exact opposite. Okay? And when you think it's too far away, that's the moment you start and continue. Okay? And when you think that the moment that you think you failed, that's the exact moment you're in the right place at the right time. You start continuing, you keep on building momentum. That's where you gotta You gotta be. So that's how you transform or alchemize these old mindsets with higher consciousness. You see, I'm failing. No, you're just right in the right place at the right time. There are so many things I gotta do, this and this and this and this and this to get there. That's the exact moment to stop planning, stop strategizing, and just do it. And learn by doing it. Allow yourself to experience it. Allow yourself to learn from that experience. And that's why we are here. We are here to learn from experiences, not from books, not from other people's stories. They can help you. They can help us. Yes, it helps us. Other stories, other people's stories, like, that's why I share my stories, right? It helps, not because I have all the answers for you, but I'm being that guiding point for someone that can use my story as a reference, that can help them go into themselves. You see what I mean? At the end of the day, you hold the key. That's what we mean by sovereignty or power within. You hold the key. It's not someone else. And it's in the age of victim consciousness, we easily handed over our keys to other people, other authorities. Take care of my blah. Take care of this blah. You see? So when things don't go my way, you complain. And if you have a lot of whatever, then power, so-called, in authoritative sense, you get to punish those people. You see, that's how the system has been built, how the consciousness has been formed, and conditioning people. So I'm just going to take a sip. See, I'm drinking this clear matcha right now, and this place is my go-to in a way for clear matcha. I tried different places as I arrived in Bangkok, and just because I like this place, I don't just go to this place. I allow myself to explore different clear matchas, allow myself to experience and what works for me. This matcha works for me. It suits my taste. You see what I mean? So sometimes it's easier for us to go back to the same old, because we figured out it works for me or it worked for me. But with the new energy, it's going to really challenge you to get outside of your comfort zone, to allow yourself to explore. Meaning there are infinite ways. That's how you expand your energy, and that's how you expand your consciousness through physical actions as well. Your physical actions, the choice of your physical actions, can also affect your energy consciousness or mental consciousness that way. It works hand in hand. So as you just go to the same place, go to the same restaurant, but you are allowing yourself to just go the different route or whatever that came to your mind, you just go there and you start experiencing. And that restaurant, and be like, it didn't taste good or it's not working for you. But before, you saw that as a failure. So you are always going for what's guaranteed as success, what worked for you. But this time, you see that as failure, right? That's why you kept on going to the same place. But now you're going to see that as an adventure, an exploration, an experimentation, an experience, a new horizon, you see? So that's how you also teach your physical cells, the cellular structure, because they hold all these thousands and centuries of traumas within your body, within your nervous system. That's why They're like trying to survive, they trying to find the comfort zone, and they like to stay there because that's where you feel safe, or that's where you've been feeling safe for centuries within the collective trauma sense. So you need to get out of that, and to do that is to just doing the so-called opposite, right? You feel like you're going to the same place over and over. You allow yourself to walk around a little bit more, and when you find somewhere that you feel like you want to try, you go and try. But that doesn't need to be overly planned. That doesn't need to be overly calculated, overly, I would say, strategized, overly searched for. And that's how you tap into your higher self. Signs and synchronicities, and tuning into your intuition. Your intuition will guide you to a place that you never imagined possible. So that's how you expand little by little, step by step. And that's what we mean by building momentum. Just on a daily, day-to-day basis, you try a drink that you never tried. Or even though it didn't taste good, you're like, oh, this is what it's like. And you appreciate that experience. The gratitude comes in. You appreciate. It's not about success and failure anymore, the duality consciousness. Oh, I succeeded. Oh, I failed. But it's more about every experience matters. Every experience, something new is teaching me something, is helping me realize, learn more about myself. What I like, what I don't like, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and it's unique. You see, like in Western cultures, especially European cultures, is very easy for you to just hug someone, and even if it's a stranger, it's hugging is hello, right? I wouldn't feel comfortable with that now, that because I know that energy exchange, and I feel everything. I wouldn't feel comfortable just doing that with everybody, so that I will maybe communicate that I don't feel comfortable hugging. It's not, it doesn't make me feel comfortable, so I just say hello or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's about learning about your boundaries as well. What works for you, what doesn't work for you. And it doesn't matter, like you can be a spiritual person, but it doesn't, like it could not matter for you. You just say hi and you just hug someone and shake hands. For me, when I do that, their information comes through. All their trauma patterns, certain thoughts that they're having, it's too much. So I need to set a clear boundary, for example, something of that nature. So everyone works different for everyone. So it's like recently I saw this video where she was like half English, half Korean, and they were on a vacation in Vietnam, and they were waiting for like a taxi or something at a hotel, and the guard at the hotel just went up to one of the girls, and she's like 3 or something, and she looks really chubby and so cute. And so he went and he just held her hand, and then he kissed her hand on the like this. And then the baby girl was like startled, but she just smiled awkwardly, but at the same time she's trying to be she's trying to like play as if it's not bothering her, but her hand, her physical body language was like she's holding her hand like this, like towards like her chest. The moment the guard went and kissed her hand, she's like this. That means she doesn't feel comfortable what he did, the crossing the boundaries. But in a lot of the cultures, especially in Asia, like you adore the babies, and then that's just was a compliment. But before, this consciousness was not really present. So even though it didn't make us comfortable, we didn't say anything. You see, that's how the throat chakra is blocking. For example, like in Western culture, is overly the opposite. So if you just, it's harmlessly, you just say, oh, it's cute, and they don't like that. It's to another extreme, where they're just very extremely defensive as well. So all these different cultures and cultural codes, and so you have to know if you can be comfortable when someone does that, you cannot be comfortable when someone does that. So before it was labeled because there was only one standard, centralized standards of what this A, B, C, D. So if you're reacting this way, you're too sensitive. You're not, you're too this, you're too that, right? That's judgment. Or if you are reacting in a really nice manner, you're a good girl, you're a good person, you're a nice person, you're a friendly person, you're an open person, something of that nature. So they used to separate these good and bad from that. Centralized conditioning codes based on duality. So that's why they couldn't express who they were, or they couldn't express how they were really feeling. They couldn't express or assert themselves in a way that they're meant to. It's related to the throat chakra. The throat chakra has been blocked. And even the parents don't pick up on these signs. Like the little girl, you can see in the body language, she's contracting now after that happens. But her face was like trying to smile, trying to please. But like she was holding on to it like this, tightly. But the mom didn't pick up on these signs, but she thought her daughter was being adored, and that's what she liked, external validations. Everybody in the comments thought that, oh, your daughter is so cute, and she's even getting adored when, outside Korea, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. That's how the people's consciousness is right now. So you cannot really protect or allow your kids to, or help them to express what's needed for them, you see? And these things vary on an individual level, vary from one individual to the next. But it has not been honored, this uniqueness. So that's why the age of Aquarius is a decentralized world. It's not the centralized, but the decentralized, meaning we are moving from one perspective to multi-perspectives and allowing and respecting these things. It's like there is one way of seeing it, and the person next to you could have another way of seeing the same thing. This was not allowed. This was judged because of that centralized conditioning codes that were judging everything and separating as good and bad, punishment and reward. You see what I mean? That's all linked. And so now you have an opinion, or you have a perspective or an outlook on something. That doesn't mean it should be right for someone else. So we are no longer needing external validation. That's the world we're moving into. You see what I mean? That's all tied. Before, everybody needed to back you up. That's right, you're right. And the more you have that number, the more power you had in the outside society. You see what I mean? That's where the word like outsider or black sheep and all these ideas coming from, right? Because of this centuries of alienation and bullying and ostracization that's been going on in all the cultures and civilizations for thousands of years, right? In the age of darkness experimentation. So now we are moving out of that slowly, one by one, one by one. And we are taking the first step now, is what is coming with the sovereignty portal that just opened up. So I'm going to ask Source and Gaia, okay, once again. Is there any other message that you want me to share at this time? So a lot of fours are coming through. 444, 4444, 404, 441, 141, fours and ones, 111, 1144. So this is representing like new beginnings and building solid foundations. And also, if you are resonating with these number patterns, what I'm going to share is that whatever that you're worried about right now, whatever that the anxieties bring you right now, is just the old ways of the cellular, your cellular structures is trying to get the energy out from your system. So allow yourself to feel these anxieties and insecurities, but alchemize it by shedding light onto yourselves by saying, meaning sound. Sound means frequency, and frequency creates patterns. So when you say words like affirmation, it's creating new patterns in your cells. You see, that's how it's working. So you release and you use affirmations that way, using sounds that's creating patterns, creating new structures. So you say, everything's working out. There's nothing to worry about. Whatever that worries me, puts me in fear, I send it back to source. And you visualize all the energy going into source with white light. That's something that you can practice whenever it comes up, how you can alchemize it. Okay, so that's how you can bring in new cellular structure within your nervous system, within your physical body, that's affecting everything that you do, every moment to moment decision. So this physical body is very important. It's going to be, for now, especially in transition. So cleaning up your system, but you have to do it, you have to take small steps at a time, and it could take several years. That's why it's really important for you to continuously connect with your higher self, to focus on this moment rather than constantly going into the ego of the outcome or the results. It could create separation, meaning where you are now to where you need to be. That idea, that's an illusion, right? The future doesn't really exist. All that is this moment is now. That's the only thing that is real, right? So everything else is created with the level of consciousness. So with that, you create a limitation, right? Now it's like from A to B. There's confinement, and this confinement is building frustration, anger, and it's going to slow you down. It's going to make your energy feel stagnant. So that's understand how this processes work, and you can start with incorporating. And something that's also guided to share is you have to listen to your body. A lot of people just switch up from meat eating to like so-called veganism or plant-based. It's all based on your vibration. If you feel called to eat meat, you need to, because your body is feeling the need to for whatever reason. But the idea that it's bad is governing your mind, so you're not listening to your higher self, but your ego is operating now, trying to control. That's where the side effects comes in. So a lot of people who say, oh, I used to be vegan for 10 years and I had this physical symptoms and that, and I got sick, and they now become a heavy meat eater, and they're promoting eating meat and stuff like that, right? And that's what they work for them, but doesn't mean it's universal. You see what I mean? So It actually comes from the fear-based trauma. They were traumatized by that experience, and instead of looking into that trauma, they went in the opposite way because ego likes to control. They went into the extreme other opposite of control. So you could do this for a few days, and you could eat meat, and slowly, just gradually, just listen to your body, what works for you. If you are craving seafood, just eat seafood. And suddenly, if you don't feel like eating seafood, you stop eating seafood. And you start craving more fruits, you eat more fruits. But at the same time, you can incorporate more of the nutrient-based energies from the earth. So basically, at the end of the day, if you embody more of a higher consciousness and your physical or energy vibration shifts to a higher level, you're naturally going to feel like you cannot eat meat anymore. You cannot eat seafood anymore because it's denser energy. And whenever you consume that, you're going to feel dis-ease. You're going to feel discomfort in your stomach, in your body, in your energy vibration, however it is, because it's not in alignment. It's not sitting well with you. It's not in one, you see? So it's like you change your size. You used to wear like, let's say, small size, and then now you need to wear medium size or a large size. But then if you still go for small size, it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's like too tight. You see what I mean? So it's just an analogy. So with food, you can start incorporating, or you can start educating yourself on how these things work. For example, for cellular development, it requires more iron, and in order for iron to be absorbed and processed properly, it requires a lot of vitamin C and also copper as well. So it works hand in hand. So you consume foods that are high in copper, high in iron together, and also rich in vitamin C, for example. And it comes from understanding the fundamentals of how the nutrients and how it's affecting the body, the bloodstreams, and the hemoglobin. Iron is creating hemoglobin, right? And then also like amino acids creating new cells and stuff like that. So something of the nature. The more you invest in understanding the fundamentals, later, after you gain momentum, it's going to be easier for you to create different recipes for yourself that works for you, that you can also enjoy as well. And you can also be creative in the process. So first, getting rid of all the chemicals and toxins and synthetic vitamins, synthetic proteins, synthetic supplements, whatever that is something that you need to look into, because you need to clean up your system first. And in the meanwhile, you can still eat meat or consume seafood or however it is, dairy. But then slowly you're introducing something new slowly. It's like the body has been working that way for years. So you cannot change it overnight or in just 1 year or just in a few months. It's going to put your body into so much stress. So your nervous system is not going to be relaxed. That's more going into survival, rather than on the outside it may look like you're eating healthier, but you really need to look into or tune into your how your body feels, how you feel relaxed, how your digestive tract is working. So for example, a lot of things about parasites in your body, the gut bacteria, And you got to look into reading all the labels in your food storages, all the mayonnaise, all the wasabis, all the soybean paste, all the nattos that you thought was healthy. Look at the labels. It's full of chemicals, especially soy sauce, even like coloring agents, and a lot of these things. And that's where you start educating yourself on these things and how these synthetic materials work against your body, because your body is from nature. Your body is from Gaia. You are the tree, you are the plants, you are the flowers. That's why when you consume these things, you get more energy. But we've been heavily misguided, manipulated, deceived, right? Still with a lot of these packaged drinks. And if you have an addiction, not just talking about drugs or anything like that, but sugar addiction or Coca-Cola addiction or certain foods, it requires for you to work consistently over time until your body forms new structures. Your body needs to learn, and it takes a while because it's been there for years. You've been practicing it for years. So that's how nature works. Everything happens naturally in divine timing, in gradual process. The analogy that is coming, you cannot give a whole steak to an infant baby because you think it has a lot of proteins and irons. The baby cannot digest it. It hasn't developed its full organs or proper digestive systems and tracts, right? So just like that, consider yourself the infant and then allow yourself to move from there little by little, right? Introducing you to a healthier group of fruits and vegetables and other, beans and nuts and stuff like that, and how they work and how you can consume them together, and how you can hydrate yourself and how electrolytes work, how it affects your system, your brain functions, right? And based on different stages as you are ascending, it may require more of this than more of that. And you need to allow and tune into your body and provide those things. Sometimes you may need more complex carbohydrates and proteins. Then some other days you may be more prone to eating anything with more high electrolytes. So you may go for like watermelon and more fruits that has vitamins and minerals, right? So it all depends on an individual state and stage. It's all very unique, and you need to tune into your body rather than what you learn from books and other people saying that you got to do this. And you can listen to them and study and you can experiment, but at the end of the day, the message is that tuning into your body, listening, intuiting is the key right now, is what I'm going to emphasize at this time for everyone to, the word that is coming is rise up or step up into a sovereign self. Or exercise your sovereign power that way. The more you make decisions like that on a day-to-day basis, even if it's just a little thing in your own perspective, that's building momentum over time. And just like I said, you cannot change everything overnight. And some people say, oh, nothing is impossible. You can change everything overnight. Yes, which is also possible. If you go to a really drastic mindset shift, all of a sudden something happens and it just puts you in a state of complete opposite. it's also possible, but usually it requires a lot of gradual effort and gradual practice, and that's how the universe or your spirit team is guiding you, because that's how you can solidify your foundation, not just building out of thin air or just completely turning everything upside down. It's going to happen at one point, but it's not going to change everything overnight. Once again, it's going to happen. These moments or these momentums or the big momentums will take place as you build little momentums, and this like turning over big time will happen over time in different seasons. So it's not always going to be like this, but it's going to fluctuate, sometimes like this, like this. That's how we call life, right? If it's like this, we're dead, but this means that we are constantly alive, and these rhythms are all different every day, every moment. So it's a way for us to honor all moments, all changes, all seasons, whatever is, all challenges. So that's recently what I made a video of. It's not about what happens to you, but it's about how you respond to what happens. That's the mindset, right? It's the opposite way of looking at it, or it's a different way of looking at it, right? You used to react to the same thing automatically, habitually. Now you are in charge. You hold the key, because you're deciding how you're going to react or how you're going to respond or not react. You see, in the process of learning that, you're going to have to sit with your anxieties, insecurities. It's just a necessary process. You have to go through this process, because every individual on earth at this time in our cellular body is full of trauma. Is full of collective trauma, is full of generational trauma, is full of individual unique trauma signature. Okay, so that's why Earth ain't an easy school. But you came here because you are equipped already. That's why you were invited to come here in the first place, right? But the challenge was that we needed to forget everything. We needed to remember everything again, which you thought when you were in the spirit world, I can do this easy. But when you come down, it ain't that easy. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. So you also have to look into what's easy, what's not easy, and do not separate. Constantly keep the positive, optimistic, hopeful attitude, right? Even in the darkest days, even in times that you don't want to do it, sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you need to give yourself a break from doing everything, efforting, just do nothing, or allow yourself to rest, have some fun. That's a life on earth. So it's about balancing act once again, like riding a bicycle, like Einstein said, right? That's going to keep happening. You're going to keep on riding. What else? So I think that's all for today. So whatever it is, I hope this helps for anyone that may resonate, that needed this. And once again, I want you to take this just as a reference. Do your own research, investigate on your own, explore on your own, apply to yourself in a unique way. You can try this and try that, but the ultimate intention must be to find your unique self, to get to know yourself more. Okay? So that we can support each other not discourage, attack, or compete with each other. That's not going to build the new earth. So this step is very important for the collective, for humanity at this time, is what is coming for me to share very heavily, especially from Gaia. Gaia wants me to emphasize that right now. So with that, I wish you a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. And if you're tuning in, if you have been tuned in, I appreciate you for your presence. And okay, the last thing that is coming, unless you are in that stage, you cannot reciprocate on a same level. And that's going to deplete other people's energies. That's how this world is right now. You hook onto other people's energy that feels light, that feels high vibrational. It's like vampires, right? So that's why we do like cutting cords and all this energy cleansing, right? So the more we rise up on an individual level to a sovereign self, we don't have to do all this unnecessary energy clearing works anymore. So I don't know how that's going to take, but they're going to bring value to your life rather than taking value from you and leaving you depleted. So that's the energy of reciprocation and true appreciation. They want to contribute and you want to contribute to each other. And that's how we synergize. That's how the age of Aquarius, decentralized world works. And that's how we are going to build from that ground or that foundation. Okay? So wherever you are, don't give up. Talk to yourself gently, kindly. That's how you stop hating. That's how you stop comparing and judging yourself. Okay, so with that, I'll see you in my next videos. Bye.